Hello, BookTube. Well, this is a bit of an unusual video for me. I got a pleasant surprise watching BookTube the other night, and it was the announcement of the Gladys Tabor Week um, by a group called the Gladys Tabor Book Club. And I was very surprised to find it. I've been reading Gladys Tabor for a very long time, and I don't know, it just sort of warmed my heart a little bit, and they were kind enough to invite me along for the ride. So it's not a read along. It's it's a group that is drawing attention to the works of Gladys Tabor and discussing their love for the books. So I've been reading Gladys for about 50 years. I live in New England. I live in Vermont, and Gladys famously wrote from Connecticut, which was right down to the south of me, and Cape Cod, which is southeast of me, and places I've spent a lot of time in. But when I was a boy, oddly enough, I didn't discover her in New England. After I discovered her, I saw her stuff everywhere. She was a very prolific writer and very loved. You'd go into houses, and they always had Gladys Tabor, Edwin Wayne Teale, who did the nature books, sometimes seasonal or regional, like Gladys does the seasonal with her books, and the Roger Tory Peterson Bird Guide. I mean, there's things I associate with the same household libraries that I associate her with. So I saw, and I mentioned on Lizzie's channel that I'm going to go up. You guys got me going now. I'm going to go upstairs to my bookshelf. I've got a bookshelf upstairs where some of my older books are that are old friends. And I'm going to go see my Gladys collection and grab a book and sit down and read it. Because the nice thing is her books are divided up sometimes, and you just read a section that say it's springtime here. I would just grab one of the books and read a section on spring. So I went upstairs and I realized, I guess over the years I've been giving these books away. I still have a pile of them, but they're the type of comfort read, homey read that sometimes is perfect for you. Gladys Tabor is often described as a country woman, and you're basically getting the day-to-day life of a country woman. And, these types of books are popular around the world. I mean, I've read similar kinds of books from the English countryside or the Welsh countryside, or, it just happens to be Connecticut, and it has a nice little unique twist, but anybody can enjoy them. Well, I found them on a visit to Ohio, visiting some friends out in Ohio, and it was in their living room, and I sat down one nice, beautiful summer day and started reading and fell in love. And I was a teenager. Teenage boy, you would think a country woman's journal wouldn't work for a teenage boy, but it certainly did. And I've been reading them ever since. And I think they can work for everybody. It's that enhanced sense of home, of the garden, of your dogs and your cats, of food, of family, all these things intermixed that most of us care about. And she just had a beautiful way of writing about it. So I'm just going to go through the books that I still have left and realize maybe I need to pick up the other ones. I do see them around. Some of the other channels have been mentioning that, there are copies on eBay and things like that. Sometimes they can be pricey, sometimes not. I don't know. I don't really use eBay. I do see them here at book sales quite frequently, and not very expensive. But I haven't been picking them up because I didn't realize how many of them are given away. So maybe I'll find out I'm wrong about all that when I go to the book sales this summer. So I'm going to start with one that doesn't have a dust jacket, and with these I don't really care, although dust jackets could be nice. This is Still Meadow Seasons. Now, Still Meadow is the name of the farm in Connecticut. And I'll just give you a sample. So this is Still Meadow Seasons, Gladys Tabor, illustrated by Edward Shenton. McCrae Smith Company out of Philadelphia, and this came out. They Roman numeraled me. Let's see here. Looks like that's not right. 28. Oh, that's the 1928 is Edna Vincent Millay poem they must be quoting. So this is 1948. Makes more sense. I used to be able to read Roman numerals right off the top of my head. I don't know why I struggle now, but I struggle with a lot of things. So anyway, here's what this looks like. And this is dedicated to Edward Shenton. So there's a little Still Meadow Farm road sign. You'll see she has a thing for pets. So I'll just read you a little bit from where she starts out. From my desk, I can look through the old bubbly glass panes in the window. There are 12 panes above, 8 panes below, and it's very hard to wash clear to the corners of them. But since the house was built around 1690, I can only be thankful that the old windows were never ripped out. I live in an 1830s house, and some stuff makes it through time and some stuff doesn't. I look out past the great sugar maples that overshadow the little house and onto the meadow and the hill where we planted the Christmas trees. The bottom of the meadow is a wild, tangled thicket, half swampy, and there grow the wild cranberries and the dark wild iris, and at the edge of the wild red grapes with their sweet, musky flavor. So here's a little spot illustration of the Still Meadow house, and it was built in 1690, thereabouts. A lot of times these old New England houses, you're going to get a circa date instead of an exact. The old Shakespeare quote with one of her dogs. She had, let's see. So you get, this is a neighbor's house. You'll get her talking about the neighborhood. You'll get her talking about, also here she's about to take a trip to Cape Cod, so we'll see that coming up. So this is Still Meadow season. There's tons of these Still Meadow books. You don't have to read them in order. I've never seen them in order. I wouldn't know what the order was, and it doesn't really affect things. You just pick them up when you find them. Next one here is Still Meadow Calendar, a country woman's journal, illustrated by, I don't know if it's Sydney or Sidoni Corin. You tell me. Right there. Beautiful cover. And here's let's see, here's the first report from Still Meadow in 5 years. Another invitation to behold the seasons and meet the author's families, friends, and neighbors, and her dogs. She also loves her cats. She's big with cats. So, go back to the old farmhouse. There we go. And this one is J.B. Lippincott Company out of Philadelphia, New York. It's from 1967. This is the second printing. And this is for Jill. Oh, seasonal thing there. So what I do with these, this one's by month. I'll go through and pick them up. Say it's April now. I'll go through and read the April part. You forward, the country road winds along a Jeremy Swamp Road to a crossroad with 8 mailboxes and a jagged array of posts. In winter, the drifts rise high, so getting to the mailbox is a hazard. And in summer, the Still Meadow box is full of wasps. Had that happen to me last year on the book drop at my library. Still got a bit of a scar from the wasp. You got me good. And here's Gladys. So to me, she's always been that sort of that pleasant voice, witty, smart, notices the things in life that fill your day that sometimes in our modern world it's easy to let go by or not to notice. And that's why I think I find her so pleasant. So here's another Still Meadow. And this is the Still Meadow Day Book. And there she is. That's a good picture with one of her cats. She lived from 1899 to 1980. Good long life. This is illustrated by Edward Shenton again, and this is Harper and Row Publishers out of New York, and this came out in 1955. This is a 1983 copy. It's out in the pond fishing and seeing the birds. This one's by month. So they her dogs, her cats, our characters. She talks about her neighbors, about plants, about gardening, all things I love. Maybe influenced by her, because when I was a young man, of course, I would have probably had the influence of what she thought was important on me as I read them. Now, let me see. I want to do these, and yeah, I'll keep going with the Still Meadow theme here and then end up with the other ones. So this one here is Still Meadow Sampler, again illustrated by Edward Shenton. There's the home. Obviously a reprint. This is Parnassus Imprints, Yarmouthport, Massachusetts. And this is copyright 1959. This edition was published in 1981. And this one is just spring, summer, fall, winter. So it's a season and not the month. There's a little. And like I say, I'll come through the time of year and read it when it's appropriate. I've been known to sit down and read them all through. When I was going through looking for my books, my collection, not realizing I'd handed off to family and friends so many copies of these over the years. I noticed I was similar with a couple other collections I keep in a similar place, and that was seem to have done the same thing with May Sarton, the journals. And she lived, of course, in New Hampshire and then in Maine when she wrote the journals, which I love. I used to have those old Norton paperbacks of them that I've noticed I've only got a few of those left. For the same reason, I know maybe somebody would like it. And then the other one, I'm trying to think. This is what problem when you get to be my age, these things happen to you. But there's a couple others I was looking up there going, wow, okay, I need to rethink this. So then we moved from Still Meadow, which is in Connecticut, to Cape Cod, which is obviously in Massachusetts. And this is her book, My Own Cape Cod. And again, a reprint. Imagine by the same company. Yeah, Parnassus Imprints out of Yarmouthport, Mass. Got the little skiffs down there. This was published in 81 from a book that was from 71. And then it's on seasonal, spring, summer, all that. Let me see here if I can show you some. I think I saw. There's the author's house, and it's called Still Cove. And there it is at the top. Very typical house for out there. These are some different houses in the area. Let's see. Somebody already showed that picture on their channel, so I'm not going to. And then Rock Harbor at sunset. So, and she did a bunch of these too. Like I said, she published a lot of books in her lifetime. And then this last one, I don't have the dust jacket for this one either. Couldn't resist. Look at those eyes. So I love dogs and cats both. I have 2 cats. They're both about 8 or 9 years old now. And then I have a German Shepherd who's his name's Dixon. He's probably getting close to 2.5, 3 years old, and he's 130 pounds of hair, but love him to death. These guys are cute. And she writes about her pets and all that, as well as she writes about gardening or the people in the village or any of that other stuff. So she's great fun. So that's all I have left of my Gladys Tabor collection. Like I say, I've always loved it. Ran into it one summer day, just randomly, and then started noticing her books all over the place. She sold a lot. I didn't know this, but I think a couple of the other book club members have mentioned that she wrote for Family Circle, which I remember as a kid in the 60s and 70s. My mother would get that, and then there was another magazine too. I didn't know that, so probably some of these things appeared there. But if you get a chance to find her in an old book sale or something like that, just know that it's just like being with, for me, I've always thought she would have been my grandmother's generation. Maybe a little younger. It's a comforting, observant, kind-hearted, grandmother or aunt or someone like that who loved her home, loved cooking, loved, the garden, noticed every blue jay and squirrel in the yard, didn't miss a thing, and had quick observations on them. She's that kind of friend. And that's what you think of her if you read it, if you enjoy that sort of thing. So I do, and hope you at least give her a chance. And I'd like to thank this group for allowing me to chime in and give my thoughts. So thank you, BookTube.